All right, we're here with IBJJF Hall of Famer, Professor Rubens, Cobrinha Charles here at your academy in LA. Jalen Fonacier, one of your athletes, just won Worlds in the Roosterweight division, had a phenomenal performance. And following along with the training on some of the social media posts, looked like him and Kenny were training super hard for the Worlds. So tell me what the Worlds training camp was like.
If we go back first, before Worlds, I think Jaylen has been training for such a long time. And we were talking about, I think, sometimes problems with athletes like Jaylen stopping competing because they start so early, and then sometimes they get burnout. And the reason they get burnout is because sometimes I attribute that to the parents, because the parents are pushing them too much. And they're pushing them too much, and sooner or later they're going to get burnout and they're going to quit. But in talking about their camp, Jaylen, I think he has one thing very special for me, and I thought that it would never happen because it's so hard to do two things at the same time, which is Jaylen has been studying, since he was a little, and training as well, and then he kept doing both, and then he kept doing the competing at a high level and then also going to school. I think this is hard, one of the hardest things to do, and most of the kids, and I know as well, they're training jiu-jitsu. They're 17, 18 or 19 or whatever, 20s, but they're not going to school anymore. They're just focusing full-time in jiu-jitsu. And Jaylen, he proved that it's possible to do both. We say that you can be street smart and book smart. Why not? And then Jaylen proved that it's possible, and then he took it to the next level. And I think Jaylen is going to be an example for the generation that think that, okay, I need just to focus on jiu-jitsu and I have to do well in jiu-jitsu. No, you can do both. He proved that. If Jaylen were able to do it, anybody can do it. Once we break that rule, and people see that, which I think for me, he broke that rule, which people think that we need just to focus on one thing. He broke the rule, he set the tone and said, listen, guys, we can do both. We can have street smart and also book smart.
Your journey with Jaylen goes back a long ways. Like you said, he's been training jiu-jitsu for 17 years. When you first met Jaylen, what were some of the things about him that made you realize he was going to be a special athlete and a special person?
His focus. Since the beginning, you can see that 19 years old, but when you talk to him, it looks like he's 28. The maturity.
Yeah.
And then speaking about his maturity, he went to Worlds, and everybody's thinking, 19 years old. And I was telling people, watch out, you're going to see. Because when we train with him, it doesn't look like 19 years old. Because the way he performed at Worlds, for me, it looks like he has been a black belt for 10 years. How crazy is that? People were thinking, okay, so we're going to get a Jaylen. He's just 19 years old, fresh black belt. I'm not saying that people underestimating you, but sometimes they think, 19 years old, first time, it's not going to happen. I'm going over there, and then I have been, some of us, we think that, because I've been in a division of being featherweight, when a black belt came in, a new one, for me, I was thinking, okay, so now I have to set the tone and show them, that's my place, right? And then most of people think that this way as well, not being cocky, not being, nothing like that, disrespectful. It's just like the way we think. Competitors, we have a different mindset. But then, when he came in, showing that the first fight, second fight, and then the people, okay, so this one and that one, let's see in the semifinal and the final. And he showed that it seems like he has been a black belt for 10 years. And I want to say one thing again, so he came to this division to stay.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, like you said, he had so much composure and he was so calm, like competing as a black belt. And I'm sure a lot of that just comes from the work you've done with him throughout all the years, putting him out into the biggest competitions and coaching him through those big moments. But can you just talk about the journey from the kids ranks to juvenile and like how that really prepared him for the level that he's at now?
Yeah, I think I think the beauty when you see a champion like Jay, we only see that good-looking kid, that's smart, focused. Because we see just the front of him, but if you see in his back as well, a lot of scars on his back, that the loss he had as well during the period of he was lower belts as well. Yes, he won a lot of tournaments and the lower belts, but also he lost a lot of tournaments as well. But I think the beauty for athletes to think that when you see the world champion like Jaylen, they think that, okay, so, Jaylen won, and then all I need to do is maybe show up at the academy. Yes, but I think you have first to have your vision, your goal. Once you have your goal, and then you build during that goal, during that thing, you build what? The discipline, right? And discipline, you build what? The consistency. And the consistency, you have what? Resilience. Some days, I'm sure that even Jaylen, he doesn't want to, train, but because of the discipline, he comes to train, and then he knows, right? He has the vision, he has his goal, and he's going to do what he needs to do to accomplish his goal. And sometimes we go to the consistency. How often you're going to show off, even though sometimes things not going your way, and then you have to show up again. And the resilience, again, same thing. Resilience, I think most of us, we know that champions. Most of us, sometimes we consider ourselves a champion because we never quit. Because Jiu-Jitsu is so hard. If you practice Jiu-Jitsu, you know how hard Jiu-Jitsu is. And competing in the highest level is the hardest thing. Why? It's you versus you most of the time. You versus you, and then you have someone in front of you, and then it's a team sport. Yeah, it's team sport because you have to help them. But also, it's an individual sport. When you get over there, it's you, you against someone in front of you. So I think that's the beauty of the sport.
I was hoping you could talk a little bit about Jaylen Sunday at the Worlds, because he faced Taliesin in the semis, and then Bebeto in the finals, two world champions who have incredible jiu-jitsu. And just to be able to go into those matches as a rookie black belt and come out with the wins and look so confident was just so impressive. So can you just talk about those two matches in that day for him?
Yeah, I think Taliesin, great fighter, has been winning for such a long time. But we work so hard on the strategy as well, because we know that they work really well in strategy. Because I think nowadays, you have to be good in jiu-jitsu. But sometimes in 10 minutes, it's sometimes hard for you to show. But then you have to work on the strategy as well. And we came with a really beautiful strategy, and then it worked really well, especially Taliesin. And again, for me, people were thinking that the way Jaylen is going to compete that day. But Jaylen, 19 years old, for me, he showed that he experienced like 10 years of being a black belt. And again, of course, he just got his black belt, but the experience, the maturity, staying calm, composed the whole time, listening. His focus and determination he has is next level. I think I attribute that. People say that, Cobrinha, you helped Jaylen. Yeah, I helped Jaylen a little bit, but if he didn't have the focus, the determination, and you would listen to me and then believe, I couldn't do anything. So that's I think most of the things I attribute to Jaylen, to be focused and know what he want for his life. And the second, and I think the final was Bebeto, beautiful as well. Yep. And I think we work on the strategy as well, and then we display a beautiful jiu-jitsu as well, which is staying calm, stay ahead of the fight all the time. And then in a competition, one thing we work really well, it's we work through the rules, yes, which is a strategy. As we're winning, most of people, they panic. When they panic, we take advantage of it. Then we can display more our jiu-jitsu, because again, the coach from outside, what they're gonna say, hey, Cobrinha, you're losing, you gotta go. Then all of a sudden, I have to push more. When I push more, and then we match the same intensity, and then sometimes we ended up finishing. And that's what was the goal for even Taliesin and for Bebeto as well. So the goal was like the strategy, be ahead in the game, and then make them open up, and then display the beautiful jiu-jitsu we have been working for such a long time.
Yeah, and his first world title came at 19 years old. He's so young, he has such a bright future ahead of him. Like, what do you see for Jaylen's future after starting off so hot at black belt?
What I see, because his focus and determination, it's next level. Each fight, it was when we were Europeans, Pan Ams, and Worlds. Each fight, first thing this kid's gonna do, he fights, he gets his phone, he gets back again. Let's see what I just did. He went to the flow grappling, started looking at the IBJJF videos, and he started looking at it, studying. How can we do better here? Okay, let's do this, and then we're going to next one, and then again with this focus and determination. Are you kidding me? And the other day I just asked him, because sometimes you see champions that, which we have been working with Jaylen, I know him really well, but sometimes we don't say much, but it's just like to see what he's going to do. The next day he was here at the academy. He brought his medal. He was training, and then he's training. He's supposed to be, Cobrinha, this week I'm going to rest. I'm going to take care of my body. I have some injuries here, some there. I'm going to take care of my body. No, this kid is here training, and so what can I say, right? So I think it's going to be Jalen's time. I think it's Jalen's time now.
Well, one of the things I think that you do so well, and that you really became known for in your career, is like your discipline and your consistency. You were always in amazing shape, always ready to go, competing at every major tournament. Like, how do you instill those beliefs and those like attitudes into your athletes?
I think one thing you're saying, but believe it by example, it's next level. I think when you live by example, they see you doing it. They see the way you train with them. They see that, listen, this guy been there before. Why I'm not going to listen to him? Yeah? That's the way I see living by example. It's worth more than telling them what they need to do. So that's how I see living by example is next level.
Yeah, I want to ask you a bit about Alliance too. You guys won your 15th world title, have won so many, I believe, more world titles than any other team at the World Championship. So you guys have done amazing, created such a great legacy, and there's so many great leaders at Alliance. So if you could just touch a bit on the leadership at Alliance and how that's kind of filtered down to the current athletes and provided for incredible results, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think leadership, it's everything. And we have a Fabio Gurgel, he's such a great leader. And one of the reasons why we're winning so many titles as a team is I attribute that to Fabio. Fabio Gurgel, it's again, if you are not a good leader, the team will company will break apart. And then be a leader, we know that we put ourselves in the sometimes we don't choose to be a leader. People look in and see you as a leader, and they'll follow you because you lead by example. You lead by example, and be a leader doesn't mean that you know everything. And then one quality of Fabio is that he sits down with the team, athletes. He talks. He learns from everybody, and then that's the reason why we won so far. Way more titles than I think the second one. I think is Grace Barra. I believe, and then we are more. I think almost a double the title. I think attribute that once again to Fabio Gurgel to be such a great leader.
I think one thing that you and Fabio do so well is you not only build world champion athletes, but you build future leaders. So can you talk about that too, like building the skills not just on the mat but also off the mat?
Yeah, I think the beauty be a champion sometimes on the mat. It's of course sometimes don't get confused. Don't get me wrong. It's hard. You have to train. You have to have dedication. But once be a champion in life, that's next level. Knowing how to apply whatever you learn on the mats, which solve one problem at a time. Because I remember when I was a child, my mom was saying, be patient. Yeah, man, be patient. Yeah. So, yeah, be kinder. Yeah, I know. And then they say, have discipline. Yeah, discipline. How about exercising every single day on the mats? This is next level. So then my point is that there is a lot of champions. And for me, what I talk to them all the time is that be a champion on the mat. One day you're going to be. But I want to see the gold medal, getting the gold medal in life, which be a better person each single day. And that's the mission and that's the goal I tell my students. Again, be top of it there. Anybody can be top of it there, but I want to see that how can we be a better person every single day and take our lives and other people's lives to the next level.
Well, you're definitely creating champions on and off the mat. It's been so cool to watch. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I will just say thank you very much for you guys for coming, and thank IBJJF for the platform you put in for us. And if I'm here today having this beautiful academy, it's because I believed in IBJJF platform, and a lot of people saying that they have to do this, they have to do that, they have to do that. So you go over there, you win, you know how to communicate, and you're gonna take your life to the next level by having one of this one day, and then changing people's lives. Thank you very much, guys.